Okay, so by the end of this video, you should know whether or not Lost Ark has a predatory cash shop. Now, the topic of pay to win is a rather hot topic in the Lost Ark community, and a lot of content creators who make Lost Ark exclusive content have covered the topic of pay to win. And the problem with covering the topic of pay to win when you're a Lost Ark content creator is you're incentivized to get as many people playing Lost Ark as possible, because the more people who play Lost Ark, the more people are likely to watch your videos as a Lost Ark content creator. And since that's the case, I feel like a lot of people, frankly, soften up a lot of the problems that exist in the cash shop, and they kind of talk around a lot of the issues, and they don't really get to the heart of it because, one, they want people to play the game so they can watch their content, and two, because the topic is such a hot topic and they don't want to piss people off. I'm okay with pissing some people off. So if this pisses you off, I don't care. I'm going to talk about the cash shop in a way that I think is as objective as I could talk about it. And we're going to be looking at things like business incentives and the way that Smilegate, who are the developers of Lost Ark, have decided to monetize the game, as well as Amazon, who are the publishers of the game in NA and EU, have decided to monetize the game. And I can do that because my channel has only been around for slightly over a month, and I don't make Lost Ark content exclusively. My goal with this channel is to make gamers' time worth wasting again. I'm trying to find the best fucking game that we can play, and I focus specifically on MMOs and community-driven ARPGs, such as Path of Exile, because those are the types of games that I want to play, and I feel like we've kind of been eating shit for a while. If you've been a fan of the MMO genre, then you know that we've been eating shit for a while, and we're all kind of, excited to play the next new thing. So, is Lost Ark the next new thing? That's not even going to be the topic of this discussion. We're just going to take a look at the cash shop and whether or not it's predatory. And so let me just hop into my computer right here. So there's a lot of different currencies in Lost Ark, but these are the main three right here. You have royal crystals, blue crystals, and gold. And you buy royal crystals with your real life money. So if you live in the US, you're spending dollars for crystals. If you live in the EU, you're spending euros or whatever your local currency is to purchase royal crystals. You can then in-game exchange royal crystals for blue crystals, and then you can also trade blue crystals for gold, and you could use gold to also purchase blue crystals. Now, the price between royal crystals and blue crystals is fixed, so it's always going to be the same exchange rate. And from blue crystals to gold, it's a free market. And so the price between blue crystals and gold is going to be fluctuating based on market trends. And the thing about this is that you're going to be using blue crystals to buy something called the crystalline aura. Now, this is a 30-day subscription that exists in Lost Ark. It is a free-to-play game, but you could buy this 30-day perk or bonus called the crystalline aura. And what that is, if you're not watching the screen and you're just listening in, I'll read a few of these bullet points off for you. What the crystalline aura does is it makes your fast travel function free. It lowers the cost of sailing on ships by 50%. It does things like give you, if you play World of Warcraft, you have Hearths. It gives you 2 more Hearth spots or home locations if you don't play WoW. It does things like increase your XP gain per minute and just a ton of other quality of life things. And this is something that you're going to have to buy every 30 days. It's not something you just buy once. This is something you buy every 30 days. And you buy this with these blue crystals right here that you have exchanged your royal crystals for, that you used your real life money to get. All right. So the problem with the cash shop, and during the beta for Lost Ark, you had the cash shop in game, and so you can kind of take a look at what they're selling. And they have the crystalline aura right here, and here's a screenshot of it. You can buy 30 days of the crystalline aura for 420 blue gems. Now, what's the problem? The problem is, to buy blue gems, you have 3 different avenues you can take. You could either buy a pack of 200 blue gems, you could either buy a pack of 400 blue crystals, I should be saying crystals, not gems, or you could buy a pack of 3,600 blue crystals. You see the issue here when they're selling the 30-day aura for 420 crystals, and you can't buy any package other than 200, 400, and 3,600. That means you're going to need to buy more than one package just to get your first 1 month of crystalline aura. If you're going to get the package of 200 blue crystals, you're going to need to buy 3 of them, and you're going to be left with 180 blue crystals extra. If you're going to be buying the pack of 400 blue crystals for 1,000 royals, you're going to be needing to buy 2 of those, and you're going to have 380 extra blue crystals, which are now tied up as blue crystals. These aren't something you can get change for when you go to the store and you try to buy a book, you go to the store, you try to buy a drink, whatever, and you go up to the cashier and you're trying to buy a book for, say, $10, and you hand them over $12, you're going to get $2 in change. Here, you don't get $2 in change. You get crystals in change. But crystals are stuck in the game, and so they're tying up your extra currency in the game, and they're not giving you an option to just straight up buy the 30-day aura right off the bat. I think this is scummy. I think this is predatory. I don't like this. I do not like that they do this. Okay, so that's the first way that they do petty pricing. Another way that they go about petty pricing is they obfuscate the value of the currency. And here's what I mean by that. If you go back to the slide here, as I said, you can spend real life money to buy royal crystals. You then spend royal crystals to buy blue crystals. I know what $10 means. I know what I can buy with $10. I know the value intuitively of what $10 is because I use that currency every single day. I know that it can't buy me a car, but I do know that it could probably buy me a meal, right? Let me fix my seat here. Okay. So, what they do, what these game designers do, is they make it so you no longer understand the value of your money. And they have double obfuscation in this game, because not only do you spend your real life dollars for royal crystals, they then take it a step further and make you trade your royal crystals for blue crystals. And now that you're dealing with blue crystals, you don't know what 1,000 blue crystals is. I mean, of course you can do the math, but it's not as intuitive to you as something like $10. It's not as intuitive to you as something as $1,000. When you have 100 crystals, when you have 1,000 blue crystals, you don't know exactly if that could buy you a meal. You don't know exactly if that could buy you, a piece of bubblegum off the bat intuitively. You'd have to go and do the math manually yourself. And they do this in the attempts to obscure your sense of value to get you to overspend. And again, petty pricing. Don't like it. Now, the other thing I don't like about this game, or this cash shop, I'm making this video here a couple days before the release of Lost Ark. As of right now, we don't know what the price of royal crystals is going to be. We have no idea. It could be $10 for 1,000. It could be $15 for 1,000. We don't know. And Amazon is being mysterious about the pricing. Why are they doing this? There's a lot of reasons why they could be doing this. But typically, in business, you're trying to figure out the best way to make the most money, right? That's what companies do. And so you have a situation. Let me pull up Paint here, okay? You have a situation where you have this axis and you have this axis. And this axis here represents sales, okay? Here, this axis represents price, okay? And so the more expensive anything is, the less you're going to sell of it, obviously, right? And the less expensive something is, the more volume of sales you're going to get. And the relationship looks like this, right? So let's say, I don't know, let's take any example. Let's say I want to sell you a book and I say, yo, this book is $10,000. And because the price is so high, the sales are going to be low. But if I say, yo, this book is $10, then there's going to be more likely that more people are going to get it, right? So what Amazon needs to do is they need to figure out the perfect price point for their products. They need to find the perfect price point for them to make the most money. It could be right here. It could be right here. It could be right here. And it takes market research to know this, and it takes a lot of effort for any business to figure out at what price point can we sell something to get the most sales. Or I'm sorry, at what price point can we sell something so that we can get the most sales at the highest price. That's why they do this sort of bullshit, okay? Now, I'm not saying businesses shouldn't be making money. Of course, business should be making money. But I think it's kind of petty for them not to come out until the game is out and tell you how much it costs to do the basic stuff in the game. And part of the reason why I think they do that is so they can get you playing and they can get you hooked to the game. And now that you're hooked to the game, they can then go in after the fact, now that you're addicted, and, throw these prices and see what they can get away with and figure out what they can get away with. Right? Don't like it. Okay. So now that we're done talking about petty pricing, Another thing that Amazon has done is they've done some really sleek salesmanship. And so what do I mean by that? Okay? We have sleek salesmanship. And the first way that they take advantage of sleek salesmanship is they create an illusion of optional. What do I mean by that? I just finished talking about the crystalline aura. It's optional. You don't have to buy the aura. You don't have to do that. The game is free to play. So what that does is it then incentivizes Smilegate and it incentivizes Amazon to make the game a bigger pain in the ass and make it not have quality of life. So then you can spend your real life money to then get that quality of life. And it makes it feel like it's optional. And yeah, of course you can play it and have it be a pain in the ass. But if you want to play it and not have it be a pain in the ass and have the quality of life upgrades, you're going to have to buy the thing. So it incentivizes poor game design. And what else it does is it leverages the power of no. And this is an idea that I got from Chris Voss. Chris Voss was a professional FBI negotiator. He dealt with hostage situations. I read his book. I think it's called Never Split the Difference. And he talks about the power of no. And what this means is if you want to get someone to do something, you don't try to get them to say yes to something because then it makes them feel like they're complying with your request. But when you phrase a question in a way that gets them to say no, while I'll give an example here in a second. You get them to say no while simultaneously complying with your request. It makes them feel autonomous. It makes them feel like they have more say in the matter. It makes them feel like they're not being sold. I'll give you an example right now. Just like yesterday or the day before, the new Path of Exile leak came out, Siege of Atlas. I was hyped for it. I wanted to get my brother to try the game. He's never tried Path of Exile before. So instead of going to him and being like, hey, yo, bro, can you please play Path of Exile with me? Please just give it a shot. Like, that's me, making him feel like he's being sold something, like he's being sold the game. Instead, what I said was, would you be opposed to trying Path of Exile? If he says no, what that really means is, yeah, he's going to try the game. But I've phrased it in such a way where he says no. And because he's saying no, it makes him feel autonomous. This is what the power of no is. You create autonomy when you allow people to say no instead of yes. And this is what the illusion of optional does. It's like, you don't have to buy the crystalline aura. You don't have to get these things from the cash shop. And so because it feels optional, it makes you feel like you can say no to these things. And because you feel like you could say no to these things, you're now more likely to buy it. See what I mean? That's kind of what they're going for, it seems. And besides the illusion of optional, the other way that their salesmanship is sleek is their PR. Okay, so their PR. And what I mean by that is in late December of 2021, Lost Ark had what they called an LAO, and that's the same thing as BlizzCon if you ever played World of Warcraft. That's the same thing as FanFest if you ever played Final Fantasy. Basically, the game director of the game came out and talked for 8 straight hours about the game and the direction that the game is going in on a stage, right? And it was in Korean, but there have been translations of this. And one thing that the director of Lost Ark said is that they have made a change to the game that is supposed to be more friendly towards the players. And they have decided that they're going to be willing to take a 17% profit cut from their profits in order to make this a player-friendly change. And what it is basically is in Lost Ark, near the end game, you run dungeons, and then when you run dungeons, you get a reward. If you want a second reward from your dungeon, then what used to be the case is you'd have to use your royal crystals, which again you could only buy with real money, to then get that second reward from the dungeon. Now they've made it so instead of needing to use real life money to get a second reward from the dungeon, you can just buy it with gold. And that's what he's talking about when he's says that he's taking the 17% profit cut. And I've been all around Reddit and I've looked around the internet, and a lot of people are super happy about this change, and they're like, oh my god, they care about us. Usually what happens here, if you take a look at second order consequences, is he knows that if he's taking the 17% profit cut up front, that he's probably going to be recouping it in other ways. because it makes the game look better, because it makes look like the developers care when they do things like this. He knows that this is going to turn more people onto the game. It's going to increase positive perception of the game. It's going to increase their reputation, and they're going to be recouping that money in many different avenues. And so they're being very smart with their PR to then make themselves perceive like they're not, doing things that might be predatory in the cash shop. And this is one way that they do it. A third way that they have really sleek salesmanship is they leverage the power of FOMO. So what do I mean by that? We are social creatures. I am a social creature. Humans in general are social creatures. And so we want to keep up with our friends. And I'll tell you a personal story. I, over the summer, got really into Escape from Tarkov. Great game, by the way. And that game doesn't have microtransactions, but that game is a game that you typically want to play with your friends because it makes the game more fun, right? And so the game also has levels. You level up from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 10 to level 20. You get my point. And so I no-life the shit out of this game over the summer. And I typically don't spend as much time in games as I did in Tarkov. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to keep up with my friends. If all my friends are level 20 and I was level 4 and I was level 5, sure, I could still play with them, but I wouldn't be pulling my weight. I'd feel like they're carrying me, and I would feel like I wasn't doing my part. I wasn't playing my role. So I felt so incentivized because of missing out of having fun with my friends and wanting to show my friends that, that I can be helpful to them and beneficial to them. I felt incentivized to play the game a lot. Now, in Tarkov, this is okay because there's no microtransactions. So instead of dumping in more of my money, I dumped in more of my time to be able to keep up. The thing with Lost Ark is you progress with money, or you progress with buying these crystals. Now, of course, you can progress naturally. You can play 16 hours a day and make all your alts, and you can keep up with the progress of people who spend real life money in the game. But let's say you don't have 16 hours a day to do that, and all your friends are on tier 4 dungeons and tier 4 raids, and you're still in tier 2, and they're playing without you, and you need to catch up. That's going to make people feel incentivized to then spend the money to then buy the speed and progression, because it's pay to progress technically, right? This is the way that people talk about the game. You're going to be incentivized to do that so you can keep up with your friends, and they're using FOMO for you to do that. And it's not just with your friends, it's also with your neighbors. And by neighbors, I just mean like regular people playing the game that you might be seeing around town. You're going to want to look cool. You're going to want to look accomplished. And I'm not saying you in particular, you watching the video, but this is what humans tend to do, right? They want to show off. They want to show off to the Joneses. They want people to check out their nice car. They want people to check out their nice Gucci bag. And when I play video games, I want to look badass too. When I'm running around in an MMO, I want people to see me and be like, damn, bro, where'd you get that sword? Damn, bro, where'd you get that title? And if the cash shop makes it so you can progress in the game, which it does, it progresses your power. You can buy straight power upgrades from the game. Even if you could even say like they're minute upgrades, and that might be true, but it does progress. It does speed up your progression, and the more you spend, the more it speeds up your progression, and that's going to create situations like this, right? Okay, so the last thing I want to say about the cash shop in this game is I want to talk about gleaning gold. And what I mean by that is at the very beginning of this video, I talked about how you can use your real life money to buy royal crystals to then exchange that for blue crystals for gold. So just like the WoW token in World of Warcraft, and just like bonds in old school RuneScape, you can take your real life money and turn that into in-game gold, and you can do it legally without any illegal real money trading or anything like that at all. And that's in the Korean version, and that's in the Russian version. Whether or not that's going to show up here in the NAEU version, I can't say 100%, but I'm fairly certain that they're going to do this. And you might be watching this video and the game is out, and so you might already know that this is possible in the game. And so once any game allows you to do this, you run into the problem of being able to buy almost anything. Well, first of all, you can buy anything from the auction house, or you could buy any in-game item with real life money, because you can turn real life money into gold legally. Not only that, you can buy things like carries. In World of Warcraft, you can get carried through PvP by people much better than you to then increase your rank, and you can get carried through dungeons and raids, so the same thing happens. Now, I understand that in Lost Ark, the number of people who go into content, PvP is going to be less people than like you would have in a 16v16 in World of Warcraft. Same thing with the raids and dungeons. I'm aware you've got 4-man content, you have 8-man content, and I think they're making 16-man content now as well, currently. And so it's going to be, you could, make the argument that it's going to be harder to get carried, but it's still a potential probability that that might happen. And not only that, you also have the problem of people who spend a lot of money in real life to acquire a lot of in-game gold, manipulating the auction house and manipulating prices and buying out items and then relisting them at whatever fixed price that they want because they just have all the gold because they spend real life money for it. And that could have huge in-game implications on the auction house. And that's another problem with any game that allows you to take your money and then buy the core currency of that game. And this video has been going on now for 21 minutes. That's kind of all I had to say about the Lost Ark Cash Shop. And if you like the video, I'm going to be making content, like I said, about how we can waste our time the best, try to find what's the best use of our time as gamers. And if you're into that sort of content, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be talking primarily about MMOs, community-driven ARPGs, because that's what interests me. And if you liked it, like it, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.